Welcome to the Game Changer with Dr. Sharalyn, where purpose meets performance and leaders are built to shift legacies. I'm Dr. Sharalyn Payne, executive strategist, speaker, and the secret weapon behind leaders who drive transformation at the highest levels. Each episode delivers bold truths, power skills, and real-world strategies to help you lead with precision, show up with presence, and build the kind of influence that outlasts trends. This is the space where high-impact decisions are born, where influence is intentional, and where the bold don't just lead, they change the game. So if you're ready to rise, ready to lead, and ready to create the kind of impact that moves markets, missions, and minds, you're in the right place. Everyone loves the idea of change until it knocks on their door. Then the same leaders who brought you in to transform their organization and their world, suddenly they're resisting you, avoiding you. And yes, I've even had them to turn on me. This isn't work for the faint of heart. This is work for the courageous, the committed, and the often unseen. Today, we pull back the curtain. This episode is for every leader like myself who works behind the scenes, every change agent doing the hard, thankless work. We're talking about the grit behind the glamour, the isolation behind the impact, and why the greatest rewards always lie on the other side of resistance. They'll tell you it's exciting. They'll tell you it's rewarding. And in the beginning, it really is. But here's the part that nobody talks about. You can be celebrated in one meeting and questioned as if you don't know what you're talking about in the next. I remember sitting alone in my office. Everyone was gone. The building was quiet. My recommendation had just saved the company millions of dollars, but it also disrupted a comfortable status quo. That was the day that I realized that being a change agent means you have to be willing to walk through the fire. And guess what else? You got to do it, even if you're walking through that fire alone. You got to ask yourself, are you prepared to lead in the shadows before you ever stand in the spotlight? This work will test you. You'll feel lonely. You'll question yourself. And there will be many, many days when you wonder if it's even worth it. And that's why you need an internal scoreboard. You must know the difference between silence and failure. You must be your own validation, even when they refuse to validate you. Your own reminder, even when they try and tell you that you're not that person, that you're not that great, that you are failing, that you don't belong. You've got to be your own measuring stick. Because if you don't define your worth, the resistance, those who are in fear, those who are comfortable with the status quo, they will define it for you. And they will leave you questioning who you are and what you were created to do. Let me give you a battle-tested framework that I teach change leaders, change agents. And this is called the CASE method. And I created this when I was working at an organization, and I found myself being challenged at every turn. The people who were so excited for me to be there, who loved me, were now against me. And why? Because change was disrupting and exposing. And that meant they would be uncovered. You see, the C is for courageous. I can remember years ago, and someone asked me, what did I do? Actually, a colleague, and she asked me, what do you do exactly? And at that time, it was just me being silly. And I said, I speak truth to power, even when my voice shakes. And she was like, wait, what? And we started laughing. And I said, yeah, I'm here to speak truth to power. And she was very sharp, but she asked me, what does that mean? And I shared with her, I tell leaders the truth. Those who are in positions of influence and impact, the decision makers, I tell them the truth they need to hear, not the truth they want to hear. And the challenge with that is that they're often surrounded by people who tell them what they want to hear. And so my voice is the voice who will always speak the truth to them so they can win and they can win big. And that's not easy. The A in the case method is for adaptability. We're living in a time where you absolutely must be adaptable. And this is even more so for the change agents, the people who are sent in, like myself, to reform a system or a place. So adaptability, it's pivoting when the plan changes. You know, there are people who fall apart when the plan changes, but that's just part of the work, right? You expect it. You're adaptable, you're ready for it. And so when the plan changes, we just pivot. We just, move a little bit differently. And that's okay because we're prepared for it and we're capable of leading in the chaos. And for my change agents and change leaders, that's often when you thrive. I can remember working with an organization. I was brought in to kind of keep things going. I was supposed to be a transitional leader. I was just going to keep it going just for a moment while they figured out who was going to take over. Now, I ended up staying with that organization for 2 years, totally changed things, totally turned things around, and we won awards and we were celebrated, and people were absolutely shocked at what we were able to accomplish in just a short period of time. You see, it didn't take us the 2 years to turn it around. And they wanted to know, how were you able to do that with the same people? And these were not people who were highly motivated or at the top of their game, average everyday players. How do we get eyes on what we were doing? I spent a lot of my time talking about being adaptable, about excellence, about the fundamentals, the foundations. What are just the simplest of things that we needed to do and get right? And if we could do those, it could change everything. But there were some times along the way that required us to be flexible, to be adaptable. And that was extremely uncomfortable for a couple of the individuals I worked with. And I found myself continuously having to revisit the conversation of being adaptable and what does that mean in today's world, inside the workplace as well as outside of the workplace. But my ability to lead in the chaos cemented what I already knew to be true, which was that I was a turnaround leader, specializing in transformation. That's what I do best. And you've got to be able to understand what it is that you do best and do that, but adapt when you need to. The S is for self-worth. And I love this particular, I would say, part of the framework, because The work is challenging. It can damage your psyche, your self esteem if you don't know who you are. If you're looking for validation, a pat on the back from someone else, you may never get it. I will never forget the time that I was just wondering, how am I doing? The work was exhausting. And I was bumping up against some voices who were just dissenting on everything at every turn. And I remember thinking, am I truly cut out for this? This was before we started winning the awards. Maybe what I thought I knew wasn't true. But then I had to look myself in the mirror and get myself together and say, absolutely, you're cut out for this. Absolutely, you do this work and you do it well. You know what you're doing. Stay the course. Do not give up. And I will never forget when my team celebrated me and surprised me with an accomplishment. Or rather, I had accomplished something, and so they were surprising me. And it was a very nice celebration that let me know that the work that I was doing had impact. And it was even more meaningful because I had just the day before had a conversation with someone who was not excited about what I was sharing with her about her performance and how she was showing up. And she's the person who led the charge in surprising me. That was one of the best days of my life where I knew you were born for this. You were built for this. So you anchor your value within, internally, not in the applause of people. You got to know who you are. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you bring to the table, no matter what they say. And then the E is for endurance. Stay the course when everyone else walks away. Stay the course. There were some people who had committed, hey, I'm not leaving the organization when I first took on the challenge. I'm going to be with you. And some of the people couldn't take the heat. So they got out the kitchen. And that's okay, right? But I was committed, that I had given my word. And so I would endure and stay the course when everyone else was walking away, when everyone else counted us out, said that we were not win, we couldn't turn it around. When things looked a little bit rocky, I stayed the course. And that's what change agents and change leaders do. So that's your case method. And this is how you don't just survive the change. Again, this is how you win. This is how you win. Let me say it plainly. We can talk about influence and we can talk about authority. But here's what I know. Influence is greater and grander than authority. Titles might open doors, but influence changes minds. Look at Meghan Markle. No matter how you feel about her, we're not going to debate how we feel about Meghan Markle. I just want you to take a moment and just think about Meghan Markle. She didn't wait for permission to challenge outdated norms. She stood in her truth globally. And guess what else she did? She influenced the narrative. Look at Dr. Marie Fagans, former superintendent of Memphis Shelby County Schools in Tennessee. She confronted systems on a local level. She wasn't just leading, she had a quest to transform culture. So here's the thing. We got to master influence before we chase authority. Because influence shapes decisions long after titles expire. Change creates tension. Pushback isn't a sign of failure. It really is proof that you're doing real work, as I like to call it. When the heat rises, don't retreat, double down, build a circle around you of truth tellers, people who are going to tell you the truth no matter what. And then protect your mental health. And one of the best ways you can do that is surround yourself with people who make you laugh, things you actually enjoy, taking a break from the work and just doing something different. But protect your mental health. Focus on the long game. So often I see change agents, they get so caught up in the immediate, but focus on the long game because this is marathon work, not microwave impact. Change agents don't just make things better, they actually make things different. And whether we like it or not, different often makes people uncomfortable. And so here's the truth: you will be unseen, you will be uncelebrated, but you must remain focused and unshaken. So I leave you with this: will you shrink for their comfort, or will you stand for their breakthrough? Because history doesn't remember those who played it safe. They're not recorded in the record books. It remembers the ones who stood alone until others found the courage to stand with them. So keep going, change agent. The legacy you're building, it really is worth every single unseen moment. You don't lead like everyone else, so your resources shouldn't look like everyone else's. Welcome to the Game Changers Leadership Collection for maximizing performance, potential, and profitability. This leadership collection features best practices, insights, and frameworks for my executive level work with high impact leaders across industries. It's designed to equip you with the clarity, tools, and strategic language needed to lead with credibility under pressure. Let's be clear. In high stakes rooms, executive presence isn't optional, it's mission critical. That's why I created the Executive Briefing Companion, your strategic script for navigating leadership's most defining moments. Whether you're in the boardroom, in front of the C-suite, or facing complex stakeholder dynamics, this tool helps you rise above the noise and lead with clarity, courage, and command. At its core is the 9 executive questions framework, a high impact structure that ensures your message cuts through uncertainty, aligns your audience, and positions you as the credible voice in the room. Think of this as your strategic battle card, the leadership intelligence you carry into the room that tests you most. Also included is the language of influence, your cheat sheet for persuasive, purposeful communication. These phrases and framing techniques are drawn from high stakes boardrooms, top tier executive coaching, and transformational leadership practices. Use this tool to strengthen your executive presence, navigate tension with calm authority, drive clarity, buy-in, and high stakes alignment, and speak with power without overpowering. You'll also get a preview of the 10 daily power skills, the high performance behaviors that fuel the world's most impactful leaders, creatives, activists, entrepreneurs, and change makers. These are not soft skills. They are strategic habits that create undeniable outcomes. You'll be able to self-assess with the high impact leadership scorecard, find your edge, close your gaps, activate your next level. And to ground your leadership in inspiration and intention, you'll receive the Power of One poster, a visual reminder that one decision, one conversation, or one action can shift everything. Finally, I'm giving you access to my mini course, 7 Leadership Blind Spots that are secretly sabotaging your culture and success, and how to eliminate them for good. Every tool in this collection is designed to elevate how you think, speak, and lead, because game changers don't follow trends, they set standards. Download the Game Changers Leadership Collection now. It's free, it's powerful, and it's built for leaders like you. I'm Dr. Sharalyn Payne, and this is your Leadership Edge. Thank you for joining me on The Game Changer with Dr. Sharalyn, where we don't follow trends, we set them, and we don't just lead teams, we shift legacies. If today's message challenged, stretched, or inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, tag it, lead through it, because real leaders don't just consume wisdom, they multiply it. Want to go deeper? Subscribe to the Ultra Influential newsletter for exclusive tools, behind-the-scenes strategy, and weekly mindset shifts for the leader ready to move nations, markets, and minds. Visit www.smpistrategies.com or send a note to leadership@smpistrategies.com. And if you're ready for next level coaching or consulting that positions you as the right leader at the right time in the right place, let's talk. This is what we do, and we do it with precision, power, and purpose. Remember, change isn't just something you lead, it's something you become. Stay bold, stay brilliant, stay a game changer.